Don't believe everything you see on the internet. We started from the bottom, now we're here. Well, not quite, but finally above water. So this is going to be a special video for those of you that have followed the insane journey that I've had with this house that I purchased. And purchased it right in the beginning of, I guess, the pandemic. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I was a victim of a lot of the same stuff that I complain about on my videos, which is you have these unserious actors in media, especially independent media, that are, you know, they're focused on clicks and views, and they're not really, in my view, living in the real world. They start pushing out certain rhetoric that they have not really looked into or fully understand. It's just, you know, whatever's trending in the progressive space or whatever it is. And, you know, housing is a right, housing is a right. Sounds good on the surface level, but what does it actually mean in practice? Unfortunately, the main people who critique a lot of their rhetoric are unserious, bad faith actors. So where does that leave us? The only people, so you only have two groups. You have one group that's saying, you know, this is the thing, this is the way to do it, right? And then you have people who are saying it's all stupid, it's communism. And to anyone else except for their target audience, we can clearly see they're bad faith actors and they're not really serious. Then of course you have the enlightened centrists, which are really undercover right-wingers. Anyway, short story is they came up with this policy that is supposed to protect renters from the evil landlords. And, you know, good idea in principle, but the execution was horrible. The main thing is that I'm finally above water. That's the major transition. I've been underwater for quite some time. And what above water, I'll talk about what that means and also how I got here. What was the final thing that really got me above surface? So being above water, when I say that, what I mean is that you can breathe. In practice, what that means is I finally have some savings again. I started this journey doing it the right way, spent a lot of years building up my credit, doing things the right way, you know, paying off my debts. Made a lot of sacrifices. I had some, not major debts, but I had some debts that need to be taken care of. And, you know, it's tough when you're giving out thousands of dollars and not really getting any actual benefit. Like, I'm not buying something, right? I'm just cleaning up my credit. But I made the sacrifices, cleaned it up. That was a long journey. And I diligently had been saving money aggressively for years and years and years. And I got to a point where I had enough money to buy the house. And one of the reasons of having all that money is because you can't just buy a house based on I can afford the mortgage or I can afford the maintenance. You've got to also have the emergency fund to handle the unexpected. Like, for example, a situation that I got where I had a single tenant, 4-family, a single tenant, 2 squatters, and then I was staying in one of the units with a massive mortgage, as you can anticipate for such a large property in prime location. That was certainly a strain, and the only reason I survived is because I did things the right way. I came in clean with good credit, so I had borrowing power, and I had savings that I was able to survive on. I had enough income, truthfully, in the beginning to weather the storm, so I didn't really need my savings. But after, some years of being in financial distress, not yet at the point where I'm like, I'm out of money, I don't have any savings, I'm broke, but you're spending a ton of money. You have a massive mortgage. You're not really making any, it's a loss, total loss. The new business you're starting is a total loss. And then you have renovation expenses and repair work, and then you got legal costs. So it's the equivalent of me just going on a spending spree for years. Only difference is it wasn't a spending spree, and at the end of it, I actually built something significant. So the big move for me was the bank. I got a bank bailout. The bank bailed me out. The bank got a bailout before. This time, I got the bailout from the bank. And the other thing was getting an apartment rented, finally, that I was struggling to get rented for a while because, prime real estate, great location. Normally, I don't have issues finding tenants except for, unfortunately, my best tenant is a little bit bougie, so it's a little bit difficult finding a tenant that's not going to be an issue with that person for whatever reason. But they're good. Good person, pays on time. I got no issues. But a little bit because I want people to be happy, right? I don't want to create a situation where we have tenants beefing with each other and different things like that. So that was my biggest challenge. But normally, there's lots of options. It doesn't take me very long. It's prime real estate, very attractive price. But this time around, wow, it was tough. I wasn't getting much feedback. My realtor was bringing me like 3 people in 3 months. I got involved. I got aggressive. I started putting out ads, taking some really nice pictures. And then I started getting a lot of feedback. Then all of a sudden I had like 3 people fighting for it. Then all of a sudden my realtor, out of the blue, he brings 1 person, then the next person, 2 people in the same day. I came really, really close to filling it, fell through at the last second. Then the realtor came right after that. He came with a couple people. First one fell through, second one, boom. So I got somebody new in the building. This person, so far so good. Really happy with the place. He's a younger guy. He is military, and he's really happy about the space and all of the stuff that comes from the premium location and everything. So that was awesome. And the bank bailout was pretty much in the final hour when I was things were really tight, and the doors were closing on me. I was like, oh man, what's about to happen? I actually qualified for a deferral, I think it's called, where they pretty much move your payments to the end of the loan. Let's see if we can actually manage up this. Let's see if the 4-wheel drive can make it going up a little hill here. Let's see. I gotta focus. Can we make it? Can we make it? Oh. So pretty much what they do is they move the payments towards the end of the loan. I think I'm a little bit crooked here. So, in short, without boring you with the details, they moved like 3 months worth of payments to the end of the loan. So pretty much, it's kind of like, I guess, like an interest-free loan, but it's not actually a loan. It might be a loan. I don't know. I didn't actually take out a loan, but bottom line is, whatever you call it, the loan term ends now 3 months more into the future. So 30 years from now, 30 years and 4 scores and 30 years from now, that makes no sense. Basically, I'm going to have 3 more months of payments to make, but immediately it's like I got a lump sum of 3 months. And with my massive mortgage payment, that is massive, but obviously this is one of those tricky situations. It certainly ain't like winning the lottery, but there are some similarities where someone wins the lottery and then they're broke right away. So yes, it's a good cash inflow. I mean, it's not really cash. They didn't pay me money. They just allow me to keep money because I have the 3 months of payments that was rightfully theirs as mortgage payments. But instead of giving it to them, I get to keep it, right? So basically, that's got me alive for now. But the thing about it is, 3 months of mortgage payments may seem like a lot of money, but it can easily be blown by some bad decisions. if not for all the debt that accumulated because of the chaos of the last few years, I'm actually right now in a really good position in terms of if you look at the balance sheet, or if you look at, the income that's coming in, the living expenses, it's really good. But I lose a lot of the benefits because of the burden that all this debt has, and it's bad debt, credit card debt and things like that. So what that means is if I can get this debt off my back, then I can actually get to benefit from the really good financials that I now have in my favor, right? So that's a massive thing, and it's also motivating. Like, listen, get rid of this debt, and all of a sudden, okay, get rid of the van, boom, income goes up by $500 a month. Get rid of one of my credit cards, that's another $500. So I could quickly increase my income every month by $1,000 just by getting rid of those two debts. The van is easy. I'm gonna pay that off. That stupid van, I'm just gonna pay it off cash, and then I have a clean title. I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna take whatever I can get for it. I'm not gonna sit around and play around with that. I'm just going to try to get the most as I can. I'm looking at probably taking a $2,000 to $3,000 loss. Fine, whatever. I owe about $12,000, $13,000 on it, right? So if I take a $3,000 loss, that means I still have 10 grand cash as a result of the sale. So that's the way I look at that. Plus the net income increased by $500 a month because I no longer have those payments. And then as soon as I get that done, then it's a credit card. One of the credit cards is only like 7 grand on it, but it's a high interest card. So if I can wipe that out, again, that's $1,000 more income right away. So what does that do immediately? Not only it's a big boost to the credit, so I can restore my credit that I worked so many years to get to where it was when I started this journey, and then it's been ruined by all the nonsense. I can make big steps towards getting it back. And then the next thing is, so the credit is better. Then what is the next thing? So you start paying off the debt. Potential a little bit of surges in the credit score because of the, better debt to income profile. So I get the benefits there. And also, since I'm not losing so much income in paying off these debts, then I can start building up a better reserve fund. I can start saving more money, which gives me more security. And that's the thing. I need to have the biggest, potential, safety net to weather the storm. No pun intended. We're in a storm right now. Because I don't know, life is tricky, man. I don't know what comes next, and I need to be ready for whatever comes next because, again, I just got a big bailout from the bank, and that's kind of like a last leg, you know what I mean? So essentially what I needed to do is build a new leg, right? I utilized this last leg, and now I need to build a new leg that I can stand on my own, you know what I mean? As opposed to I just have just enough to get by for now, but if something bad happens again, then I'm in trouble again. I definitely don't want that. So I want to, start crushing the debt, like an assassin, massive debt payments, get that net income growing, start building up that reserve account, making available credit available to me. That's the next thing, because, with the credits maxed out, you don't have credit available to you. So make credit available to me. That's part of the safety cushion. So worst case scenario, I have credit I can rely on. I'll have cash I can rely on. So just building up the reserves, building up those safety nets is really going to be the focus. And part of that's also going to be, I'm going to try to maximize the income. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, new potential business ventures. I'm going to look at, I haven't done any investments in quite a while. I want to look at that, with a lot of craziness happening in the country.
I need to reevaluate. I'm a little bit skeptical on real estate right now with everything that's going on, the price of lumber, and so many factors, and this tariff nonsense. So precious metals, is that the way to go? A little bit late to the party on that one, perhaps, but that's these are things I need to think about and think of, try to make decisions on. But I think now is the time for, obviously, diversification that should always be the thing, but especially now, I think diversification is critical. And I think particular sectors are, tangible assets. The dollar is really struggling. So that's another thing. Can I use that, to my advantage? Because if the dollar is, doing so poorly, you have foreign exchange to think about, right? Do I bet against the dollar? Put my money where my mouth is, based on what I see, my predictions on politically where I think the country is going. I really believe in these things. So, I should put my money where my mouth is and invest accordingly. With where Trump is taking this country, where are the things that I should try to invest in? Do I get back into crypto? I don't know. I'm a crash guy, especially when it comes to stocks and crypto. I like big crashes. So I think if things stabilize and there's a massive crypto crash, I'm probably going to slip in a little bit, but just a tip, right? Probably going to slip in just a little bit in, nothing that's risky at all. When I mean an amount of money that if I lose it, like, who cares? You know what I mean? So that is where we're at. But I'm about to get on the highway. So let me focus on driving. Anyway, this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. You know you want to. All right, guys, that's the latest. And until next time, happy Sunday. Be safe. Stay warm. And don't believe everything you see on the internet. Don't believe everything you see on the internet. Some of the stuff is lies. And they know it's lies.